Picture this for a moment. It's the first of the month. You wake up, grab your coffee, open your banking app like you do every single month, and your Social Security payment isn't there. The money you've worked your entire life for, the money you depend on to pay your rent, your electric bill, your prescriptions, it's just not there. No warning, no letter, no phone call, just nothing. Now, most of you watching this right now are probably thinking, that could never happen to me. My direct deposit has come every month without fail for years. And I understand that, I really do. But here's the thing. Millions of Americans are about to face exactly that kind of disruption, and most of them have no idea it's coming. That's why I'm sitting here today, because what I'm about to share with you is not something the mainstream news is spending a lot of time explaining clearly. And if you rely on Social Security, whether that's retirement benefits, disability, or SSI, you need to hear every single word of this. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what has changed, why it matters, who is at risk, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to protect your payments. Let's start with what's actually happening, because this is bigger than most people realize. The Social Security Administration, the SSA, has made a series of sweeping changes to how they handle direct deposit. And when I say sweeping, I mean the biggest changes to how your benefits are delivered in decades. These aren't small tweaks buried in some government memo. These are changes that directly affect how you receive your money every single month, and whether you can even update your banking information if something goes wrong. Here's what changed. For most of your life, if you needed to update your bank account for your Social Security direct deposit, maybe you switched banks, maybe your account was compromised, maybe you just needed to move your money somewhere safer, you could pick up the phone. You'd call the SSA's 1-800 number, speak to a representative, and get it handled. It wasn't always fast, but it worked. Millions of seniors did it that way every year without any problems whatsoever. That option is now gone. The SSA, under pressure from DOGE, that's the Department of Government Efficiency led by Elon Musk, made a sweeping policy change. You can no longer make direct deposit changes simply by calling on the phone. As of early 2025, if you want to change where your Social Security money goes, you have two options. Either you do it online through your My Social Security account, which requires a full digital identity verification process, or you get in your car, drive to a local Social Security field office, and do it in person. That's it. Those are your two choices. Now, for some of you, that might not sound like a huge deal. You're comfortable online. You have a My Social Security account already set up. Fine, but here's the problem. A very large portion of Social Security recipients are not comfortable online. Some don't have reliable internet access. Some live in rural areas where the closest SSA office is an hour or more away. Some have physical disabilities that make travel difficult or impossible. Some simply don't have a smartphone or a computer. And for all of those people, and we are talking about millions of Americans, this policy change is not just an inconvenience, it is a genuine threat to their income. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, which is a respected nonpartisan research organization, estimated that nearly 2 million seniors and people with disabilities will now need to physically travel to their nearest Social Security field office just to make a direct deposit change. 2 million people. And that's just for direct deposit updates. But this is where things get really serious, and I want you to pay close attention here. At the very same time that the SSA is telling millions of people they need to go to a field office in person, at that exact same moment, the government is also closing Social Security field offices across the country. DOGE has already identified at least 47 field offices that have been or will soon be shut down. These aren't offices in crowded cities with plenty of alternatives nearby. Many of them are in rural communities in states like Kentucky, North Carolina, Louisiana, Texas, and Florida, places where seniors already had limited options to begin with. So the policy is essentially saying, you must come see us in person, while simultaneously taking away the very offices people would go to. Let me put that in plain language. Imagine you live in a small town in rural North Carolina. The Social Security office that used to be 20 minutes away just closed. The next nearest one is now 75 miles away. You're 72 years old, you don't drive anymore, and you need to update your direct deposit because your bank merged with another bank and your account number changed. What do? That's not a hypothetical situation. That is the real situation for thousands of Americans right now. And I want you to understand, I'm not saying this to scare you for no reason. I'm saying this because knowing the problem is the first step to protecting yourself from it. Now let's talk about what actually happens if your direct deposit information is outdated or wrong, because this is something most people don't fully understand. If the SSA has incorrect banking information for you, even if it's only slightly wrong, even if your old bank account was closed, your Social Security payment will be rejected by the bank. When that happens, the money gets sent back to the SSA. And here's the part that catches people off guard. The SSA does not automatically resend your payment. There is a process that has to happen. And during that process, you could be waiting days or even weeks without your money. For someone living on a fixed income, and most Social Security recipients are, a 2-week delay in their monthly payment can mean they can't pay rent on time. It can mean late fees. It can mean a utility gets shut off. It can mean they can't refill a prescription. These are not small inconveniences. These are life-altering disruptions for people who have budgeted their lives down to the dollar. And here's something else most people don't realize. If your banking information is outdated and the SSA tries to process your payment and it fails, they may flag your account for review. That review process now requires identity verification, which, under the new rules, means either online verification or an in-person visit. So you're not just dealing with a late payment, you're potentially dealing with a bureaucratic process that could take weeks to resolve. This is why staying ahead of this is so important. You do not want to be in a reactive position with the SSA. You want to be proactive. Before I go any further, I want to take a quick second to say, if you're finding this information helpful, please take a moment right now to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We cover Social Security, Medicare, benefits, and the laws that affect your money every single week. And we do it in plain language that actually makes sense. Hitting subscribe is completely free, and it makes sure you never miss a video that could affect your income or your benefits. Now let's keep going because there's still a lot to cover. Let's talk about the online option, the My Social Security account, because this is what the SSA is pushing everyone toward, and it's important you understand exactly what's involved. Setting up a My Social Security account requires you to go to ssa.gov and create a profile. You'll need your Social Security number, a valid email address, and a U.S. mailing address. But here's where it gets more complicated. The identity verification process requires what's called multi-factor authentication. That means after you enter your username and password, the system will send a code to either your phone or your email, and you have to enter that code to prove it's really you. If that second step fails for any reason, wrong phone number on file, no cell service, technical glitch, your account can actually get locked, which then requires a phone call or, you guessed it, an in-person visit to sort out. And here's something that has a lot of people frustrated. DOJ has been making changes to the SSA's online systems as part of their broader effort to overhaul government technology. The problem? Those changes have been causing system outages and access problems. People who had working online accounts have found themselves suddenly locked out. And when that happens during the exact same period when phone service options are being restricted, you end up with a situation where people can't access their benefits information through any channel. I don't say all of this to make you feel hopeless. I say it because understanding the landscape is how you avoid getting caught in it. Let me give you a specific scenario because I think real examples help this land better. Say your name is Margaret, you're 68 years old, retired, and your Social Security check has gone to the same bank account for 7 years. Last fall, your local bank branch closed and merged into a larger regional bank. The bank sent you a new debit card and a new account number. You didn't think much about it because your bills were still being paid automatically. But what you didn't realize is that the old account number is still the one on file with the SSA. The next time the SSA tries to send your payment, the deposit gets rejected because that old account number no longer exists. Now Margaret's payment is sitting in limbo. She calls the SSA's 800 number and finds out she can't just update her banking information over the phone anymore. She doesn't have a computer. She's not sure what a My Social Security account even is. The nearest SSA office is 45 minutes away, and her daughter has to take time off work to drive her. The whole process takes 3 weeks to resolve. 3 weeks without her Social Security payment. That is a real situation that is playing out across this country right now. So what do you do about it? Let's talk about the practical steps because this is where I want to spend some time. First, check your banking information with the SSA right now. Don't wait for a problem to tell you there is one. If you have a My Social Security account, log in and look at the direct deposit information on file. Make sure the bank name, the routing number, and the account number are all accurate and match your current active bank account. If anything has changed, even just the account number, update it before a payment fails. Second, if you don't have a My Social Security account, I strongly encourage you to set one up now while things are calm, rather than trying to navigate it in a crisis. Go to ssa.gov and look for the My Social Security sign-in option. If you need help, many local libraries offer free computer assistance. AARP also has resources to help seniors navigate this process. You can also call 1-800-772-1213 to schedule an in-person appointment at an SSA field office if you prefer to handle everything face-to-face. Third, know your nearest SSA office. Look it up now, check its hours, confirm it's still open, because given the closures that have already happened and those that are planned, you want to know in advance, not at the moment of a crisis, whether your local office still exists and where the next one is if it doesn't. Fourth, if you recently changed banks, opened a new account, or had your bank merge with another institution, treat that as an urgent trigger to verify your SSA direct deposit information. Don't assume everything transferred automatically. It often doesn't. Fifth, if your bank account is in good standing and your direct deposit information is correct, you're in a better position, but still be alert. If your payment doesn't arrive within a day or two of when it's expected, don't wait a week to start asking questions. Contact the SSA promptly. Now let me address something that's been swirling around this whole issue, because I think it deserves to be discussed honestly. The SSA and DOJ have justified these changes by citing the need to reduce direct deposit fraud. And look, fraud is a real thing. There are people out there who do try to steal Social Security benefits by fraudulently redirecting direct deposits. That's real, and it's wrong, and something should be done about it. But here's the critical point that a lot of people are missing. The SSA's own data shows that direct deposit fraud, while real, affects less than 1/100th of 1% of benefits paid. We're talking about an extremely small fraction of the $1.5 trillion the SSA paid out last year. And importantly, the data also shows that most of that fraud does not come from phone calls. It comes from other methods entirely. So the argument that eliminating phone-based banking updates is necessary to stop a massive wave of fraud doesn't quite match the actual numbers. What the change does accomplish is making it harder for millions of legitimate, law-abiding seniors and disabled Americans to manage their own benefits. Whether that trade-off is worth it is something people are debating in courts and in Congress right now. Multiple lawsuits have been filed. Advocacy groups are pushing back. But in the meantime, the rules are what they are, and you have to navigate them as they currently stand. There's also the paperless check issue that's worth touching on here. If you're one of the very small number of Social Security recipients who was still receiving a paper check in the mail, and there were still hundreds of thousands of people doing so, the government has been pushing hard to eliminate paper checks entirely. An executive order set September 30th, 2025, as the deadline for all federal payments to transition to electronic delivery. The SSA initially said it would enforce that deadline strictly, but later indicated it would continue issuing paper checks where truly necessary. Still, if you were relying on a paper check, the pressure is very much on to transition to direct deposit or a Direct Express prepaid debit card. If that's your situation, this needs to be on your radar immediately. Here is the bottom line, and I want to say this as clearly as I possibly can. Your Social Security payment is not automatically protected just because it has always shown up on time before. The rules of how that money gets to you have changed significantly, and they continue to change. The window for handling things casually or assuming someone else will catch a problem has closed. We are in a period right now where the combination of policy changes, office closures, staffing cuts, and technical disruptions means that if something goes wrong with your direct deposit, getting it fixed quickly is going to be harder than it used to be, which means preventing the problem in the first place has never been more important. Check your information. Set up your online account if you don't have one. Know your local SSA office. And stay informed, because this is not the last change that's coming. There will be more updates to Social Security rules, more changes to benefit delivery, and more things that could affect your income if you're not paying attention. The people who are going to be hurt by what's happening right now are the people who didn't know it was happening until it was too late. And that's exactly why I make these videos, so that you are not one of those people. If this video helped you understand something that you didn't fully understand before, please share it. Send it to your spouse. Send it to your sister. Send it to that neighbor down the street who's been on Social Security for 20 years and has no idea any of this is going on. Because the best thing you can do for the people you love is make sure they have the information they need before they need it. And if you have a question about any of this, about your specific situation, about your benefits, about what steps you should take, drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and I do my best to respond. Stay safe, stay informed, and don't let anyone catch you off guard when it comes to the money you've earned and the benefits you deserve.